Hello and welcome to this video. I'm super excited to be recording this video. This is the first video of the product design review series. In this series, I plan to talk about some of the trends that I'm noticing, some of my favorite products, and some design tools, some resources around it, and also we would do some live product design review together. So that's the plan. Let me know in the comment section below if you would like me to add something else as well. So this video is going to be an introduction video where I'll explain some of the fundamental concepts so that the subsequent videos are more useful to everybody. Anytime we talk about product design, two words pops up. They are UX and UI. They are often used interchangeably, but they are not quite the same. In this video, I'll explain the difference between UX and UI. Let's dive in.
All right, so now let's understand what is UX and UI. UX and UI is all about the look and feel of the application. That's to put it in the most simplest format. But let's talk about it in details. So UX is all about the interaction design. What is interaction design? Interaction design is how the user navigates from one part of the application to the other part of the application. How easy or how difficult that process is. How the user performs various tasks or various activities on the application. How easy and how difficult that is. How easy it is for the user to find the right information at the right time in the spending least amount of energy. So that essentially is the goal of interaction design. Now, moving on to what UI designers or what UI is all about. UI is all about visual design. So what is visual design? Visual design constitutes of all the visual elements that the user sees on the application. It would be definitely the various images, colors, the layout of the application. If I am to summarize all of that, I would say anything and everything and the way user sees the content on your website or on your product or on your application, that is essentially visual design. The next point is wireframes and prototypes. So one of the key thing that UX designers they do is during the early phase of product design, they create wireframes and prototype to give a face to their ideas so that they can validate those concepts or ideas with the actual users before they move forward with the product development phases. On the other hand, UI designers, they define what color the application should be, what not only just the font color or various button colors, but for the overall application, what should be the color same, the color palette, and again various inputs that goes in deciding that are the nature of product that you are dealing with, the actual user segments, their demographic factors, and also the branding guidelines defined by your product company. All right, so moving on, the next point is information architecture. So UX designers are responsible for understanding what all informations the user needs to see and their significance in essentially how important those informations are so that they can define the hierarchy of those information and what point during the user's journey those needs to be presented, so that the graphic designer can recommend or can suggest the best layout or the best visual format in which those information could be presented to the user. The next point we have here is user research. So as I mentioned, UX designers create wireframes and prototypes, and the main objective of creating wireframes and prototypes are to validate their design concepts with the actual users. And that's essentially what user research is all about. There are various kinds of user research. and it is one of the key activity that any product team does before designing or during designing the product experience. UI designers, as I said earlier, they understand or they take the input from the UX designers to understand, what the right interaction design or what kind of information needs to be presented, the hierarchy of information, and considering all of those inputs, they decide what is the best or the optimal layout for the respective product, whether it should be responsive UI or how essentially the layout of the product should be. They ensure that the real estate of the product is right to utilize with the right visual elements to give the optimum experience to the end users. And the last point we have here is scenarios. So UX designers, they need to understand the various scenarios, both from business standpoint, like what problem would the design serve to the business, right? Are you looking to engage more with the user? Is that the business problem that you as a designer would have to solve? Or are you looking to have more users signing up for your product? So the business context is very important. And not only that, the UX designers also have to understand the various scenarios or the various use cases that the user will be performing or looking to perform through your product. And I would say one of the key or important aspects of human-centered design is not just understanding the business and user context, but also paying close attention to the user psychology, the user mood, what all thoughts that goes through the user's mind when they perform various set of activities, so that you can spot at what point the friction is, so that you can craft a design which should remove that friction or that resistance, and that would leave the user with a wow experience. And on the other hand, UI designers, they're essentially responsible for the entire visual aspects of the application, be it the content, typefaces, color, images, essentially all of the branding elements. That's what the UI designers take care of. So let me just, recap. UX and UI both are very important to ensure that your product has a great, experience and is able to leave a mark to the end users. UX is about what the user feels when they use your application, and UI is about the look of the application, how the application looks to the end user. And both are, I would say, almost equally important. You can't really have a great product experience without both being in place. So with that, I'll call it a wrap for this video. Definitely leave your questions, comments on the description below. I definitely look at them and respond. Yeah, so with that, I'll call it a wrap, and I shall definitely see you on my next video. Thank you. Bye.